Okay, so in this video, we're going to get set up really quickly. If you want to go ahead and grab or check out the code, you can grab it directly from the Level Up Tuts GitHub. It's under Gatsby site. I'll have this link in the description. As you can see, it is a Gatsby starter. I have this thing pushed up to Netlify. I'm not going to go over the process of this. This is covered in the Pro Gatsby series that's covered in the Level Up Tutorials Pro Gatsby series. So if you want to learn more about hosting on Netlify or Gatsby in general, check out leveluptutorials.com/store and either purchase the Pro Gatsby series or subscribe to become a pro. And you can learn all about this Gatsby stuff. What we're going to be doing in this video in particular is building a contact form into your static website, which is something that's a huge pain most of the time. However, we're going to be using Netlify's built-in forms function, which is currently in beta, to set up form handling. Now, because Netlify's form handling is in beta, this might be subject to change. I don't know. So if this is all of a sudden not working for you, then maybe that's something to look into. Maybe this is changed, or let me know in the comments. However, for right now, this would be a great way to get form handling on a Gatsby site, which again is something that nobody really loves, to be honest. So to get started here, I'm just going to fire up this site inside of my text editor. I'm using VS Code. The theme is Level Up. So we have our pages, components, all this sort of stuff. And we have our index page here, which you've seen as just a really standard HTML page. Let me actually make sure I'm running Gatsby Develop. We can have a local version of this up as well. Let's see, Gatsby Develop. Make sure we have this up and running so it's not just our Netlified version that we have. Okay, let's head back to Firefox here. Check this out. We have our local version of this site up and running. What we're going to be needing to do here is set up a very basic form, as in a very most basic contact form. And this form is going to look really just, well, in this example, it's going to be very bare bones. Now I'm going to use Emmet here to get some auto completing. So I'm going to say form, and inside of my form, I'm going to say we have an input, and maybe we'll just have one input for now, and then a button as well. Okay, let me have this like this. Now our button can just be send. Okay, so this is a very basic form. Now form action, we're going to go ahead and delete this form action, and we're going to change this to be form method, which is going to be equal to post. Okay, and we're going to need to add a whole bunch of more properties to this form here, or at least the form tag itself, to get this working so that Netlify is aware that this thing exists. So what we want to go ahead and do is add a name to this, and this will be contact. Okay, and let me actually put these on their own line so you can see these properties a little bit better than if we were to do this in a big line. So we have a name, we have a method. Now we're going to need a data attribute, which is data Netlify. Now data Netlify is going to be equal to true. Okay, and your autocompleter may change that to just be data Netlify. And then we're also going to need a data Netlify hyphen honeypot is equal to bot hyphen field. Okay, now the next thing we're going to want to do is on our input to give this a name, and this name is just simply going to be, well, name. Okay, placeholder will be equal to your name. And using a placeholder as like a labels job, this isn't a great practice here. Typically, you'd want a label that says your name and a placeholder that's like a fake name or something like that. But that's not really important to figuring out how this works. So right now, this should be a-okay. So let's go ahead and save this and head to our Gatsby site. If we head back to Firefox, you should see we have a very basic your name, and we can type in my name. Just click send here and have it, well, not do a whole lot. Let's go ahead and push this up to GitHub and see what happens with our Netlify. I'm just going to do a git add commit form, and we should see this go up to GitHub, and then in turn we should see our Netlify site start to get a new version. You can see it's already building, and hopefully this builds quickly. I'm just going to fast forward until then. Okay, so now at this point, looks like we've deployed. This is going to be really interesting because Netlify is already going to be aware that your form exists. If we head to Forms, you can see we should have an active form. Now you might be wondering, how the heck did that active form get here? And it's simply by using the data Netlify is equal to true, as well as the data Netlify honeypot, okay? If you have both of these things, your form should show up here. Now at this point, we can select this contact form and you can see there's no submissions. Now in addition, if we were to submit this form, it wouldn't even necessarily know what to do just yet. Let's actually head to our Gatsby Netlify site. This is the live site, not the local site, and I'm going to just enter my name. Okay, and click send here. You can see it's actually taken us to this nice little thank you screen, which is actually kind of nice that it does that for you. You could actually have your own stateful form and handle this sort of submission. I'll have to do that in another video. I just want to get a very basic contact form going here. And you can see I can head back to my site. And let's head back here and let's give this page a refresh. You can now see that we have a new submission. Now we could download all of our submissions. We could select this one. You can see that the value is simply just the name, and well, the name comes from the name field, and here's the value and when it was received. Now, in a standard contact form, you're going to want this thing to send you an email, though, right? I mean, like, isn't that the point of a contact form? You're not going to want to come into a Netlify dashboard to check your submissions all the time. And not to say maybe that you wouldn't want to do that, but you wouldn't want to do that for maybe a professional site or something like that. So let's go ahead and talk about how we can handle this thing. If I head back to the forms page overall, and we're going to select notifications from form handling, this is going to take us to the notifications form in our settings, and we can add a notification. Now, this is really super cool because the contact form or the forms inside of Netlify, they don't just have to send you an email. They could post to a Slack channel. They could hit a webhook. Maybe this email is coming into another system that you have and it's getting saved and stored somewhere. Maybe it's hitting a webhook that does something really interesting, right? It gives you a ton of different potential different interesting usages of these forms. The most basic would be just simply an email notification with that message. So I'm going to select email notification. I'm going to select the new form submission, and the email to notify is just going to be, we'll have this be Scott at LevelUp.Tuts, and we're going to select the contact form specifically, or you could have all of your forms in the entire app if you have multiple forms. From here, we can click save. Now, anytime that anyone submits the contact form, I'm going to get an email. Let's go ahead and submit this one more time. And let's say my name is Scott. I'm going to head back to my site and I'm going to fire up my email. Now, as you can see here, I've received an email from Netlify, and it has the actual web address of the site up top here, and it simply has the contents of the contact form. So my name is Scott here. Okay, let's go ahead and add a couple more form fields and get this thing finished out here so we can actually have a really nice contact form. You've seen how easy this is so far. We just have a basic form, a send button, and it handles pretty much everything for you. I'm going to go ahead and have a new field here, which is just going to be input, and this is going to be email, and it's going to just be, we'll just actually use a valid placeholder this time at name@name.com. And the type is going to be of email. Okay, we're using some HTML5 input attributes here. And lastly, we could do a text area as well. Let's go ahead and get that going. We just have a text area, okay, and the name will just be message. Okay, and it doesn't need an ID. I'm not even going to give it any rows or columns. Just leave it like this. Let it self-close here. And let's head back to our site. Let's look at our Okay, this is an ugly looking form here. Obviously, you're going to want to style this. That's not what matters right now. We're just worrying about the functionality. Obviously, I expect you to be able to style your own forms. So let's go ahead and now push this live to our site and see this contact form fully created in action. Again, you're going to have the code for this available at the LevelUp.Tuts GitHub. It's in the comments, and you can just copy and paste and modify this as you need. Let me go ahead and push this to GitHub. Okay, it looks like everything has been published. Let's head to our site. Let's give this a refresh. Let's see this ugly form. Let's add our name, Scott at LevelUp.Tuts.com, and say, hey, Scott, what's up? Okay. Let's click send. We get our nice little thank you. Now there's going to be an issue with this if I refresh my submissions, is that, well, we're getting the name, but we're not getting the other fields. Now, if you are seeing all of your fields come in, then that means that this little bug has been fixed. But right now there is a little bug where if you have added fields after creating a new form, then the Netlify service will sort of be like, oh, there's no new fields. Now, I know they're actively working on this, so this is very well may be fixed by the time you're watching this. That's why I wanted to just have you go ahead and do it. Now, if you are seeing this issue like I'm seeing right here, where we have our contact form like this, and it's not submitting all of our fields, the solution and workaround right now is to just add a new name for our contact form, which is right now contact, and we can have it be contact-form. Now, obviously, this isn't super ideal, but again, they are working on it, and it could very well be fixed by the time you're watching this video. So if you're running into this issue, just change the name. We can just redeploy this, and I'll show you in a second that it's working. Typically, anyways, you don't really change your forms that much. You set them up and you're ready to go. But obviously, the fact that there's a fix-in for this means that this shouldn't really even be an issue for much longer here. But so let's go ahead and just wait while this pushes up here. I'm going to head back to the dashboard here and check out the build status. Let's go ahead and resubmit our form. Actually, let's give this page a refresh first. Now let's go ahead and resubmit this form here. Let's click submit. Let's say thank you. Let's head back to our Netlify here. And this time I'm just going to hit to the forms tab. And you're going to see we have our new contact form here. Again, like I said, this is just a workaround, so you shouldn't always need to change your name here if you're changing your fields. But you can see that we have our new form. And just like this, it is going to have all of the information from the message, the email, and all that good stuff. And of course, if we wanted to have this send us an email, we would want to come in here and say, let's add a notification, email notification, the new form submission. We're going to want to email Scott at, or whatever email, and we're going to have it be attached to the contact form. Either way, you can see how incredibly easy this stuff is. The most important thing that we need to have here is that on our form, we have data Netlify equals true, data Netlify honeypot bot field, okay? Other than that, it needs to just act like a normal form. Now, this is in Gatsby, okay? This is a static site. If your site is a non-statically built React site, this method will not work. So this is specifically for statically built sites like Gatsby, okay? Or standard HTML. This would work on a normal HTML page, okay? So thank you so much for watching. This is how you can get a contact form up and running in Gatsby with Netlify, and we even go over some maybe the issues that you might have with the system. It is in beta, so it is actively in development. And again, if you want to learn Gatsby completely, head to leveluptutorials.com/store. You can check out Pro Gatsby, which is a new pro series, which is 25 videos teaching you all about Gatsby, hosting it. I'll show you how to get up and running with hosting on Netlify, like we had our contact form in this video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.